When a person considers doing football or baseball, other activities, there are a lot of sources for them to consider whether or not it's right for them, whether they want to participate, whether they want to spectate, maybe even whether they want to teach or coach. Martial arts is slightly different in that there are not a lot of sources for a person to determine that. So the video we've captured here is for a student to watch other basic students learning basic techniques and to help you decide whether martial arts is right for you. Hapki Kang Yusul simply in Korean means the harmony of hard and soft techniques. In your hard styles, typically you have hand and foot strikes that can be devastating, even to break materials like wood and concrete. And in the soft styles, you redirect the force either with a circular motion that redirects that force in another direction, or by sending it in the direction that it's going and allowing that force to carry through. The students learn how to punch. They learn how to kick. Not everything that you do with your hands or with your feet is considered a punch or a kick, though, so we refer to those as hand strikes and foot strikes. Then we learn a form, which is short for formal exercise. And several styles have forms, which is a choreographed, simulated attack from multiple directions to teach you to use combinations of blocks and counter strikes. Typical Hapki Kang Yusul class is comprised of exercises that get us limber, prevent injury, and hopefully create our strength, our breathing, and at the same time our flexibility and our agility. In addition to the hand strikes and foot strikes, which constitute the hard part of our style, the soft part entails training of self-defense techniques for 12 different attacks. Every belt, and there are 8 color belts from white belt to black belt. For each belt there are 12 attacks, and a student will learn 2 techniques to get out of each of those 12 attacks for each one of those 8 belts. So by the time you've achieved your black belt, you have learned approximately 184 self-defense techniques to get out of attacks where someone may actually put their hands on you, seek to abduct you, try to get you to do what they want you to do, including attacks with a knife or a handgun. So a student is well equipped for everyday life through the training of Hapki Kang Yusul. Many potential students are introduced to martial arts through events like the UFC tournaments and televised representation of events like that, and that's the only exposure that many students have, or potential students have, to martial arts. And the buzzword these days is mixed martial arts, which Hapki Kang Yusul would fall under, except that our approach is not one of trophies or tournaments so much as real-world self-defense. At the midpoint in your 8-belt journey to your black belt, we introduce the ground and the grappling segment of our style in addition to everything else that you're learning. So for the last 4 of the 8 belts, there's a whole separate grappling, ground fighting, jiu-jitsu, judo type of block in addition to the other things that you'll learn. In addition to the self-defense techniques that a student will learn through their 8 belts, private self-defense classes for your group or your organization are also offered separate from class time. But in addition to the self-defense techniques that a student will learn in class, they will also do one-on-one sparring with protective gear, board breaking, and then eventually that will lead to concrete breaking, and weapons are introduced of a student's choosing at a certain belt level, so that nothing is ever introduced earlier than the time where the student's experience level is ready for that. Hapki Kang Yusul is a style that builds on simpler techniques where no prerequisites are required early on for the more complex things that come later on in your learning. The ultimate goal of Hapki Kang Yusul is not a commercial venture to earn money or for wealth to be amassed by the instructors or the organization. Primary function of Hapki Kang Yusul is to equip students not only for self-defense or martial arts, but looking at them as a citizen in society, wanting to chart the right path, learning respect, learning discipline. A part of that is in our martial arts training is to equip a student to be able to encounter any type of attack that they might have out there, whether it be physical or spiritual. And in the physical sense, whether it's a stand-up attack or a ground attack or from any other stylist that may have training, but remembering that the street has no rules, the Hapki Kang Yusul student will be well equipped.